All right, we're just simply going to finish authorization. We have a students and we have a students by advisor, both necessary. Now we're going to go ahead and get an individual student, which we're only going to let you do if you're an admin or you're the specific student's advisor. We're also going to do a post mapping and put mapping. We're only going to allow you to put change values that you're capable of changing, and we're only going to allow you to delete people you should be deleting, right? For instance, you can only delete your own students and so forth. Good news is we've done most of this work, so it should be relatively easy. We did this before. We checked to see if it logged in, and then we checked to see if you're an admin. So I'm just going to grab that. For the get mapping, first things first, I'm going to see if you're a logged in user. We got to add the HTTP session here. And then we see if you're logged in and if you're a user. So if doesn't equal null, right? You have to be logged in. You can't even look for the user if you're not logged in. Else. And I'm just going to go back here and say you are not authorized. Excuse me, I'm going to change this to null. Okay, we're going to control all. We're going to click formats. Boom. All right. Oh, man. All right. Trying to go too fast. That's what always happens. So we're going to change this to student S, student real equals student service find by SID. And we'll give it the SID. Bink, bink. Okay. What we typically do, though, is before we do that, we check to see if exists by ID, right? So if you're logged in, it doesn't matter if the thing is authorized or not. If you're logged in, if the user that you're trying to look for doesn't exist, there's no point in doing anything else. Otherwise, we go ahead and grab the student, right? But now we got to do another check before we return it. Authorized check. If real.advise, come on, Ruth, get advisor dot equals log. Come on, Ruth. This is not my favorite thing in the world. Get username, right? If you're an admin or the advisor for the student, right? That's what that's saying, right? If you're the advisor for the student or you're the logged in user, we're going to go ahead and return the student. Here we just go student, or no, real is what I think I put. This. Else, you are not authorized to receive that, and as a result of that, you're going to get an unauthorized return. Okay. You do have some error checking changes and so forth. So as a result, you can't just use, where everything's positive, you return real, otherwise you return unauthorized, because you do have the possibility of it being not found. And so you do have to return it that way. Boom. But that is the authorization technique for the response entity to go get a single user. So now we're going to do it post. Post is adding one. So we're going to do something slightly different here. This is actually really simple, right? We're going to do the same thing here. Right. And we're going to do I'm going to actually put it as the first thing so it can actually be faster. So we can do that. But I actually want to go there, and I want to go um, post uh, if user does not equal null, right? The user exists. We can actually do the checks and so forth, right? Right. Except we have a problem, Houston. Okay. It's a very simple problem, but in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to do something slightly different. Rather than prevent a user from adding a user, we're actually simply going to fix it. Sorry, I have a mismatch bracket here. Let's do the formatting, and we should be good now. We're not, right? Where's yeah, so we're missing a return statement because we have this. So we do need an else, and we just want to return null and unauthorized. Just return null and unauthorized. Okay. All right. So anyway, we have a logged in user. If you're not logged in, you can't do anything, blah, blah, blah. Okay. But if the student exists, we can say it already exists. We don't have to do anything, blah, blah, blah. It was found. But if we add it, we want to actually check something. If you're an admin, we do nothing. So if you're an admin, you do nothing. If you are not an admin, I'm sorry if there's a what's called outside, you might have to make a change. S dot set advisor. Sorry, my nose is going crazy as well. I'm gonna go ahead and get the username, and I'm gonna set the advisor. In fact, I'm actually gonna cheat this. I'm gonna say if not, then do this. And you go, wait, what am I doing here? Pretty simple, but let's talk about it. So what I'm doing essentially is if the user's an administrator, I'm going to leave the advisor the same. I'm whatever the advisor is set, we're going to leave it. If you're not an admin, you can only create your own users, right? And so that's what's happening. I'm just setting it. So I'm ignoring what comes in, and I'm setting it to the actual advisor. This prevents you from adding any type of advisor. So that's a little bit different. But the get mapping for the individual student is going to look a lot like this. So we're going to actually copy a good bit of it to go get the put mapping, and the delete mapping is going to look the same. So we're going to put this if the login user is null, else, right? And then scroll right up and grab a unauthorized. We don't have to return a authorized, by the way. We could return, we don't have to return null. We could actually send the body just like we did before. I just don't care. But if the login user is not null, now we're going to do all the checks. Oops. So I'm going to grab that stuff. I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to select all. I'm going to click format. And yes, this will actually going to pretty much look like below. So this is going to look basically the same. If it's not there, we're going to indicate it's not found. We already have that. However, if it is there, we have to verify that we are able to update it. If we're not able to update it, we can't do it. So if you're an admin, or no, I have to go get the real student. Student real equals defined by SID. And I'm going to go ahead and, right. So we know it exists. So we're just going to, here, we're going to go get it. Admin or real dot get advisor. Come on, Ruth. Get advisor equals logged in user get username, just like we did before, by the way. We're going to just essentially verify that you can in fact get it. Else we're going to do the unauthorized again. Wait. Yay. All right. So if it is, we're going to actually return, we're going to save the entity, and we're going to return all good. Okay. Yay. That's all we're doing. We're just authorizing it. I'm going to keep going as quickly as possible because we are a little bit over time. But last class was actually pretty short. If I have to make any changes, I will, but I shouldn't. So the last one, I'm just going to go ahead and do something a little bit strange. I'm going to go ahead and copy the whole thing. Okay. And I'm going to paste it right here. And I'll show you why. So the first things first, I'm going to add the HTTP session. And then we're going to realize we have exist. We have all the same things. We have not found. We have all the same things. You have to have do login, all those things. The difference is instead of updating it, we do this. That's the difference, right? And we don't have an SID. We just passed an SID. So this is just SID. This is just SID. This is just SID. And I'm going to do this a few more times, apparently. And voila, that should be the same code. Yay. Yeah, because it's unreachable because all of this exists, right? Now, none of it exists. We have our full authorization. So only either admins can edit anybody's students, any advisor students, or not an admin can add what's called it. But this is a fully functioning Spring version of our framework that fully does authentication and authorization. We have a login, which we tested in a previous recording. We have a login test, of course, and then we have a log out mechanism, but we also now have authorization. So only logged in users can do these things, and only admins can do what admins can do, and users can do what they can do. If I had an endpoint that did not need to log in, obviously I wouldn't check to see if the user was logged in, and so forth. So, I mean, that's how that would change. All right, I'm going to stop the recording. This is going to be the end of 1121. The next class will actually do all of the Angular stuff, which sadly will go actually rather rapidly for the following reason. Most of the stuff we do will actually not change. We have to talk about data storage on the client side just to make our life easier. However, most of everything we do will pretty much be the same, right? Like there's very little code differences because the session's really being handled by the server. And so we just need to send over those credentials, and the credentials will be managed by the server. So yeah, we have to create a login page. We have to do some things like that for the server, but for the Angular side, but there's really like from the level of code, most of it is actually on the server rather than the client. All right, thank you guys.